So this is a world where ghosts and monsters roam. Here, humans can unlock their potential and become supernatural ability users with powerful destructive abilities. People can use it to slay ghosts and monsters and destroy everything. The male protagonist Damien Lin is an otaku who traveled from Earth. Other dimension travelers are invincible from the beginning. They can easily defeat the heavens, the earth, and the air. But Damien Lin is mediocre with no talents. He is just a weakling who was beaten to death and thrown into a trash heap. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but go crazy. He swore to find the murderer and seek revenge for himself. Just then, a rustling sound broke out. He turned around and saw someone urinating and defecating. Damien Lin was just about to step forward to stop it. Suddenly, the man turned around, opened his mouth wide, and pounced towards him. This scene almost scared Damien Lin to death. Damn, what the hell is this? Just in the blink of an eye, the monster appeared right in front of him, watching Damien Lin about to be eaten. Suddenly, a pair of large scissors flew in the air. With a click, it directly cut the monster in half at the waist. Shortly after, a stunningly beautiful girl appeared in front of Damien Lin. Damien Lin was stunned by this scene. This beauty is really amazing. The girl slowly approached Damien Lin. Then, with a shy look on her face, she asked, "Brother, am I beautiful?" As an otaku, Damien Lin has never seen such a scene before. He praised the girl enthusiastically with his mouth drooling. Suddenly, the girl turned into a Kuchisake-Onna. Now what about me? Am I still beautiful? Just now, Damien Lin, who was still immersed in love, almost wet himself out of fright. The girl didn't wait for his reaction and directly approached him. "Little brother, hurry up and answer me. Am I beautiful or not?" She saw Damien Lin refusing to speak for a long time. The girl picked up the scissors and was about to cut Damien Lin's mouth open. At this critical moment, time suddenly stood still. Only a sound of ding was heard, detecting that the host was in danger. Binding to the Supreme Choice system was successful. Then 3 options popped into Damien Lin's mind. He was asked to make a choice within 5 seconds. Without any hesitation, Damien Lin chose the SSS gift package. Isn't it just kissing her? What's the big deal? He reached out and grabbed the pretty girl's shoulder. He kissed her on the lips. He thought he would feel disgusted by it, but for some reason, he didn't. Damien Lin unexpectedly developed a special feeling. He looked at the woman ghost in front of him. Damien Lin suddenly felt that she was not scary at all. In fact, the more he looked, the cuter she seemed. At this moment, the girl's face blushed. Indeed, when facing such a fierce woman ghost, one must use love to influence her. At this moment, the woman ghost turned around and was about to run away. Suddenly, she stopped again. "By the way, young man, my name is Maple Red. I will definitely come back." After saying that, she turned into a gust of breeze and disappeared. Damien Lin was still standing there in a daze, feeling unwilling to leave. Suddenly, the system prompt sounded. "Congratulations to the host for completing the task. Successfully obtained the SSS level supernatural power gift package." Immediately, a handsome figure descended from the sky, directly transformed into a lightning bolt, and struck Damien Lin's body. Powerful forces continue to erupt within Damien Lin's body. This scene has directly caused a sensation throughout the entire city. A mysterious woman couldn't help but sigh. Someone has actually awakened a supernatural power above S level. As far as I know, the only person who has surpassed S level in the entire Kanglan city is that man. Could it be? Is he the descendant of that man? At this time, the phenomenon in the sky slowly dissipates. Damien Lin successfully awakened the SSS level supernatural power, Chi-Yu. In this world, the highest level of supernatural power currently is only S-class. But he actually awakened to the SSS class. Thinking of this, Damien Lin smirked mischievously. With this SSS level supernatural power, I believe it won't be long before I can rise up and become a big shot. From then on, I will embark on the pinnacle of life. Just as he was fantasizing about his future wonderful life, a system alert interrupted him. Warning, warning. Large numbers of ghosts and monsters have been detected approaching nearby. The host's current strength is relatively weak. Please evacuate as soon as possible. Damien Lin ran away as soon as he heard it. He ran wildly for half an hour, relying on the original host's memories. He finally found his way home. As soon as he walked in, he found a little girl standing at the door. Damien Lin just remembered that the original owner also had a younger stepsister named Ella Lin. The younger stepsister felt extremely distressed seeing Damien Lin covered in wounds. She hastily cooked a bowl of ginger soup for him. Damien Lin's heart bloomed with joy. It's really nice to have such a thoughtful younger sister. In the original owner's memory, Damien Lin was a child adopted by family Yang Lin since he was young. After his foster parents passed away, he lived with his sister Hannah Lin and younger sister Ella Lin. 3 years ago, his sister was selected to join the Supernatural Power Department due to her excellent qualifications. Because of her busy official duties, she asked Damien Lin to take care of their younger sister. But his previous life was a useless waste. He was even more indifferent towards his younger sister. Damien Lin couldn't help but sigh at this point. Having such a good younger sister, but not knowing how to cherish her. So he made a vow. This life, he must protect his sister well. Just then, suddenly a roar scared Damien Lin almost out of his wits. He wiped his mouth and was about to get angry. He turned around and saw his childhood sweetheart, Selena Chu. Without saying a word, she pointed at Damien Lin and scolded. "You big idiot! This morning, in front of the whole class, you used a megaphone to confess to me. You almost embarrassed me. Tonight, you must give me an explanation." After hearing this, Damien Lin fell into contemplation. His predecessor was killed near the school after confessing to Selena Chu. Could these two incidents be related? Well, I better deal with this woman first before considering anything else. Later, he joked by picking his nose and said, "I'm just kidding. A fierce tigress like you, I wouldn't want you even if you were given to me for free. How could I ever like you?" Selena Chu instantly flew into a rage upon hearing that. She lifted her foot and kicked Damien Lin. Damien Lin swiftly dodged with a sidestep. But he didn't expect to see something he shouldn't have seen. His blood pressure skyrocketed instantly. Selena Chu quickly covered her skirt when she saw the situation. She cursed Damien Lin as a sick pervert without shame. Damien Lin immediately felt unhappy and said, "You made me see something I shouldn't have seen. Don't you have any sense of guilt? Quickly apologize to me." Selena Chu found herself unable to argue with him. So she prepared herself in a fighting stance to battle Damien Lin for 300 rounds. At this moment, younger sister Ella Lin rushed out, swearing to protect her brother at all costs. Selena Chu couldn't be bothered to argue with the kids, so she turned around and was about to leave. Before leaving, she also told Damien Lin that the school will hold a supernatural power test tomorrow. Only those who awaken AC rank or higher supernatural power are qualified to enter Kangling College. I awakened a rank supernatural power long ago. I was pre-admitted to the college. The future is bright and full of possibilities. As for you, you will never catch up with my pace in this lifetime. In the future, you should still find a screw factory to tighten screws and just be an ordinary person at the bottom. She insulted Damien Lin harshly. It was as mean as it could get. But she never expected it. Damien Lin has awakened to an SSS-level supernatural power. How could he possibly be just an ordinary person? At this moment, a ding sound rang out. A multiple-choice question from the system has come. Even though the reward offered in option 2 was very tempting, Damien Lin decisively chose option 3. Selena Chu, you listen to me carefully. Not only do I want to persist on the path of being a supernatural ability user, but I also want to beat you scum up. With this statement, Damien Lin successfully gained 5 points in strength. Selena Chu thought he lost his mind, and only left with a parting phrase before leaving. But the younger sister is full of confidence in her older brother. In her eyes, her brother is the best. At night, Damien Lin was sound asleep when suddenly a chill wind blew past. Kuchisake-Onna, who was forcibly kissed during the day, unexpectedly appeared again. "You rascal. If you steal someone's first kiss, you have to take responsibility for a lifetime." The next morning, Damien Lin went to school to take a test. He got out of breath after running a few steps. It felt like he had been emptied out. Could it be because he dreamt of sleeping with the woman ghost last night? But that dream felt too real, as if it had actually happened. He came to the school and asked his classmates where the test venue was. But this guy with blonde hair seems to have poor quality. He shouted for Damien Lin to get out. And when he saw that the person who came was Damien Lin, he was filled with surprise in his eyes. This guy is actually not dead. Then, he had a disdainful expression on his face. "I didn't expect that even a worthless person like you dares to participate in the test." It turns out that Huang Mao, whose real name is Xiao Yang, is a pursuer of Selena Chu, and they grew up together with Damien Lin. So he has always seen Damien Lin as a thorn in his side. Damien Lin also guessed that his previous death must be related to this guy. At this time, the staff announced that the test had begun. As long as you awaken AC rank or higher supernatural power, you will have the opportunity to enter Kangling College. Then, one by one, the students walked up to the stage. But their test results were all unsatisfactory. Items like item-based supernatural power and flat-bottomed walks. Spicy snacks and sausages are getting more and more peculiar. Xiao Yang is about to take the stage. As soon as he appears, he triggers a series of screams from the girls in the audience. And he lives up to everyone's expectations. He actually awakened an A-rank transformation-based supernatural power, Ghostly Wolf. The surrounding audience were in an uproar. Even Selena Chu looked surprised. He clenched his fists with full confidence. But the audience below burst into laughter. "Ha ha. This loser actually joined the test. If he can awaken supernatural power, I'll go eat shit." Facing the ridicule of the crowd, Damien Lin couldn't be bothered. He plans to blind them with his own abilities. Thought he would test out SSS-level supernatural power. Become the most eye-catching guy in the field. But his test result turned out to be only FFF level. And its incomplete supernatural power. Now everyone laughed even more joyfully. Damien Lin looked incredulous. How is this possible? There must be some mistake. At this moment, a slender jade-like hand touched Damien Lin's handsome face. It turned out to be woman ghost Maple Red planning to lend him a helping hand. It was just a blink of an eye. Damien Lin's supernatural power potential value has rapidly risen to S level. The examiners were all stunned by this. A supernatural ability user with S-level potential. As long as one practices diligently, there is a chance to elevate the supernatural power to above a rank. So the examiners made an exception and passed Damien Lin. This also fueled Huang Mao's hatred towards him even more. So after the first test ended, Huang Mao couldn't help but come over to pick a quarrel. He wanted to publicly humiliate Damien Lin. But Damien Lin's look of needing a beating made him even more angry. He grabbed Damien Lin's collar and shouted loudly, "I am the young master of the Yang family. If you really have the ability, come and fight me." The system prompt sounded. Damien Lin chose option 2 without hesitation. He then threw a punch at Huang Mao's face without hesitation. Everyone saw it, right? He's the one who asked me to hit him. Requests like this, I've never seen in my entire life. At this moment, Huang Mao is very angry. Damien Lin, you are asking for death. Even my dad has never hit me. How dare you hit me? He said this as he was about to fight Damien Lin. Just then, a loud shout interrupted them. Stop it, both of you. Only to see a person with a vine snake armband. A cool and spirited blue-haired girl appeared in front of everyone. The second practical test is about to begin. Qualified students of supernatural power, please get ready. Follow me to the practical test site shortly. On the way to the test site, the girl introduced herself. "My name is Sugar Sue. I am the examiner for your second practical test. This test is related to whether you can become official students of Kanglin College. So everyone needs to do their best. Does everyone understand?" Everyone replied in unison after hearing it. Only Damien Lin didn't respond because he saw something more attractive. As expected, he was indeed discovered, and the examiners were about to get angry. Suddenly, a large group of bats appeared in front of the vehicle. The bats immediately attacked the crowd without saying a word. In the blink of an eye, the bats flipped the bus over onto the ground. What's going on? How did so many monsters suddenly appear? Damien Lin thought this was a test arranged by the school. Sugar Sue doesn't seem to be aware of it. Let's team up and take down these monsters. She led everyone towards the monsters. Seizing the opportunity, the yellow-haired person, who was beaten up by Damien Lin, just now acted. Grabbing a bat, he threw it towards Damien Lin. Damien Lin retaliated with a roundhouse kick directly at him. Wamao, seeing that the sneak attack failed, wanted to try again, but Sugar Sue had already killed monster. She landed gracefully in a perfect posture. Wamao had to stop when he saw the situation. At that moment, the earth suddenly started shaking violently. Countless chains emerged from the ground and directly tied up everyone and dragged them into the air. Ah! What is this? I can't handle it. A girl was so scared that she almost fainted. At this moment, a loud rumbling sound resounded. A man riding a motorcycle with a footpad and chain lock rushed over. Oh my! Let me see which cuties have been caught. He scanned the crowd with an evil look. He immediately spotted a girl in the crowd. So he walked over, planning to have some fun with the girl. His male classmate on the side saw the situation and got extremely anxious. "Don't touch that girl. If you dare, come at me instead." When the man heard this, he chuckled even more creepily. "Then I'll touch you instead. Let's see who's tougher." It seemed like the male student was about to be in trouble. Suddenly Sugar Sue broke free from the chains. She rushed towards the man at a speed of 6.3 kilometers per second. She did not even get close before being whipped back by the man. Luckily, Damien Lin caught her in time. Indeed, heroes always appear at the most critical moments. At this point, the system has provided 3 choices again. Embrace Sugar Sue and escape. Beg for mercy, defeat the Soul Wagon Demon. Damien Lin's character would definitely not choose the first 2 options. Completing the third one will reward supernatural power evolution shards. In Damien Lin's view, supernatural power is the top combat power. That's it. He clenched his fist, the corners of his mouth lifted, and there was a hint of provocation in his eyes. He then rushed towards the Soul Wagon Demon with all his might. He threw the punch with extreme seriousness. Just 1 meter away, he could take the Soul Wagon Demon's life. With a loud bang, the Soul Wagon Demon whipped him, distorting his facial features and declaring the failure of this attack with its grotesque pose. Although Damien Lin is useless, he is the only hope before you. With his failure, everyone's last hope was shattered. Damien Lin flew far. He looked like he was about to crash hard on the ground. Suddenly Maple Red appeared, just in time to catch him. You little fool. You need to focus. Condense the spiritual energy in your body into your right arm. Damien Lin suddenly enlightened. He thought about practicing in combat immediately. But Maple Red's posture at this moment. It feels like there's a desire to do something. As a man, Damien Lin thinks he needs to be more proactive. So he leans in to kiss Maple Red. But who knew that Maple Red, who had just looked shy moments ago, instantly transformed into a man-eating woman ghost? What are you standing there for? Go fight now. Damien Lin broke out in a cold sweat. How can this woman change her face so quickly? Regaining his senses, once again facing the Soul Wagon Demon Damien Lin's grandstanding, he had to get serious. Hearing such irritating words from behind, the kid with the blonde hair couldn't help but retort. Can't you stop showing off? Will you die if you don't act pretentiously? A fifth-rate fighter like you should stop embarrassing yourself. The soul wagon demon across from Damien Lin, seeing his full confidence, suddenly found it somewhat intriguing. So he swung his iron chain, taking the initiative to launch an attack. Sugar Sue shouted, "Be careful!" She felt that Damien Lin was courting death. Damien Lin unexpectedly grabbed the iron chain and couldn't resist taunting. "Are you an idiot? Haven't you eaten yet?" Just as Soul Wagon Demon was surprised, Damien Lin suddenly grabbed the iron chain and pulled hard forward. Soul Wagon Demon was heavily thrown out. The iron chain was torn to pieces. Sugar Sue and her classmates all widened their eyes, surprised by Damien Lin's sudden increase in strength. Soul Wagon Demon was beaten until he spat blood, and also began to take it seriously. He rode his motorcycle and swung a big iron chain, sweeping it towards Damien Lin. Sugar Sue launched a light wave attack. The iron chain shattered into debris. Damien Lin took the opportunity to get on his car. Hey, little buddy. Let's have some fun together." Soul Wagon Demon was temporarily restrained by Damien Lin. Sugar Sue took advantage of this opportunity decisively. A steady blow severely damaged the Soul Wagon Demon. The Soul Wagon Demon is repeatedly frustrated. It is forced into a corner like a desperate dog trying to run up a wall. It even wants to self-destruct and take everyone down with it. Sugar Sue saw the situation and exclaimed that it was not good. She quickly pushed Damien Lin and ran away to a distant place. But they had not run out of the danger zone yet. A huge explosion cloud enveloped the two of them. Just as everyone thought they had received their lunch boxes, suddenly two figures appeared faintly. Their companions shouted in excitement. At this moment, Damien Lin was shining with glory, holding the somewhat weary Sugar Sue, with a proud and ostentatious look on his face. Having achieved a victory, Damien Lin's audacity grew. Looking at Sugar Sue, he said, "Your headlight is injured. Let me help you massage it." Sugar Sue, feeling annoyed, gave him a cold look and shouted at him to roll away. Back to the team, a group of infatuated girls hurriedly surrounded him. "Damien Lin, so you are so amazing! Damien Lin, you are such a tough guy!" The girls were ecstatic, expressing their love with all their might. Damien Lin could never have dreamt of such treatment. At this time, task rewards have also been distributed. Double joy. Damien Lin laughed even more unrestrainedly, just as he was fantasizing about a wonderful life ahead. Suddenly, a drone flew over. "I declare that the second phase of the practical test ends here." The crowd looked confused when they heard that. Was the attack incident deliberately arranged? Facing everyone's questions, the drone quickly provided an explanation. It turned out that the previous Soul Wagon Demon was the content of the second level's practical assessment. Everyone's performance had been recorded by the cameras. Students who performed well would officially become the new students of Kanglin College. Upon hearing this, everyone suddenly realized. However, Sugar Sue was not happy. "You guys, why didn't you tell me in advance? At least I am one of the examiners," she said angrily. Watching Sugar Sue's drone rising with anger, they quickly explained that the school had done this to maintain the authenticity of the test. Damien Lin also didn't disappoint anyone and became the best candidate in this test. After hearing this, Damien Lin pretended to be low-key while digging his nose. The girl next to him had already started to shine with excitement in her eyes. Everyone spontaneously lifted Damien Lin up. "Damien Lin, you're amazing!" Damien Lin couldn't help but bask in the overwhelming praise. Damien Lin was completely overwhelmed by the admiration. Watching this unknown student, Sugar Sue couldn't help but sigh. This Damien Lin hides amazing potential. With his joining, Kanglin College is bound to set off a huge wave. Damien Lin finishes work and goes home. The younger sister eagerly asks her brother about the exam results. Damien Lin shared the good news of passing with his younger sister. Later, he hummed a tune and danced up the stairs. But his sister couldn't help feeling down because she was worried that her brother would leave home in the future, perhaps to live in a dormitory. She couldn't afford to think too much. Ella Lin turned around to prepare dinner, and also reminded her brother to tell their sister the good news. Damien Lin waved goodbye. He quickly dialed Hannah Lin's phone number. The sister who was carrying out the task heard the news. She didn't show much emotion, just said some words of encouragement, and then quickly hung up the phone. Lying on the bed, Damien Lin was becoming increasingly curious about this mysterious sister. Suddenly a dizziness hit. Is she coming again? Sure enough, he had just entered dreamland. A familiar and pleasant voice came. Have you missed me? The man had just crossed over and encountered a woman ghost. He tried to save his own life. The man kissed her directly on the lips. Little did he know, from that moment on, the woman ghost comes to pester the man every night. She even demands that the man marry her. Damien Lin, I need you. As long as you agree to marry me, I will help you enhance your power. Maple Red actually wants to sign a soul contract with Damien Lin. Let's have a marriage to the dead. Damien Lin quickly rejected it upon hearing. He is a decent person. How could he casually get married? Even if he were to marry, he would need to tighten a few screws to prove the relationship first. But Maple Red expressed that she couldn't wait any longer. Damien Lin didn't wait. Instead, he directly used the blood pact. Only streams of red light radiated from Damien Lin's body. It was as if his soul had been sucked out. And so the two of them officially became husband and wife. Damien Lin gradually recalls the past memories of Maple Red in his mind. 1,000 years ago, the Demon Lord descended to bring havoc to the human world. Maple Red unfortunately lost after battling the Demon Lord for 300 rounds, roaming outside for 1,000 years. Only then could she return to the world. At this time, the knocking sound of the little sister came from outside the door. Brother, wake up soon. Don't forget that you have to go to Kangling College for an interview today. The suddenly awakened Damien Lin was indeed a bit upset. Just got married to Maple Red, and didn't even have time for the bridal chamber yet. We must make it up another day for sure. He bid farewell to his sister whom he couldn't bear to part with. She arrived at the college, and saw the magnificent buildings, and those groups of beautiful, busted senior school sisters. Damien Lin was ecstatic. He briefly admired the beautiful scenery. Damien Lin plans to handle the enrollment first. However, he is curious about his supervisor. At this moment, in the enrollment hall of the college, a woman with high-end LED headlights is standing by the wall, smoking and posing as if she is the boss. Two men next to her are irritated by her attitude. They are all college instructors. They are currently in a fierce competition to recruit outstanding students. However, with Damien Lin's arrival, the atmosphere immediately changed. Male mentors rushed to talk to Damien Lin about his last battle with the Soul Wagon Demon, eager to let Damien Lin make a name for himself in the coming battle. To seize the initiative, mentors successively extended olive branches. Damien Lin, if you become my disciple, I will give you high-quality Dan pills as a gift. Damien Lin, I have many female students under my guidance, and you will have the privilege of having a junior female apprentice accompany your studies. Damien Lin, I can arrange a live broadcast program for you to become the rising star of tomorrow. To secure this outstanding student, male mentors are pulling out all the stops. They are even willing to resort to physical means regardless of their identities. Damien Lin looked at the mentors' aggressive and intimidating demeanors. Damien Lin appeared helpless. At this time, a pleasant voice came through. Damien Lin, the handsome young man. I am tutor Linda Tang. Why not come to my class? As for my strengths, I think there's no need for me to say more, right? Damien Lin turned around. His eyes couldn't help but stop at her headlights. This mentor indeed had a lot of advantages. As a seasoned old pervert, Damien Lin had already fallen. Linda Tang saw that there was a chance and added another dose of strong medicine. As long as you worship me as your master, I will let you stay in the best dormitory. In the future, I will give you special benefits. As soon as these words were spoken, the blood pressure of the three people immediately soared. Seeing Damien Lin about to be taken away, the male mentors cursed Linda Tang for being unethical. But Damien Lin didn't care about ethics at all. Without saying a word, he directly performed the ceremony to apprentice himself to the new master. Linda Tang proudly apologized to everyone. Linda Tang immediately gave Damien Lin a small favor. Damien Lin instantly burst into a big smile. The man was drawn to a beautiful female mentor as soon as he entered school. The beautiful female mentor openly offered benefits in order to win him over. The man thought he had moved into a town of tenderness from then on. The senior student, who is overweight, said he was deceived by the mentor. So Linda Tang's nickname is Witch. She often greets her subordinates with a small whip. The benefits she promises are even more terrifying. People will easily get burned if they are not careful. Damien Lin was shocked after hearing it. He can't wait to spar with his mentor. He seems to be asking for trouble. The fat guy can only wish him good luck. At night, Damien Lin was enjoying himself in a large bathtub. Suddenly, a familiar voice sounded. "Damien Lin, have you missed me?" Damien Lin turned to see that it was Maple Red. This woman always appears mysteriously, and always shows up at times when mistakes are easily made. It turns out that Maple Red has always lived in Damien Lin's spiritual world. There is a large amount of spiritual energy that can be absorbed there. Damien Lin is the only choice for Maple Red whose spiritual world has already shattered. Who made him take someone else's first kiss? Of course, this is also one of the reasons why Maple Red took the initiative to marry him. The steaming heat made his gaze become blurred. Looking at his wife Damien Lin, his heart began to stir. Just about to enter the bridal chamber with Maple Red. One can't tell who is so blind. Coming to knock on the door at this time. Damien Lin was furious and cursed loudly. Who the heck is sick? Disturbing a good thing, be careful of being struck by lightning. But Damien Lin looked around, and not even a bird was in sight. Suddenly, a shadow darted into the house. It turned out to be a yellow weasel. Damien Lin thought it had come to ask for a letter. But this yellow weasel has obviously become cunning. Why would it come to ask for a letter? Taking advantage of the moment when Damien Lin was distracted, this yellow weasel unexpectedly turned malicious. With a fierce expression, it pounced towards Damien Lin. It seemed like Damien Lin's life was in danger. Suddenly, a large pair of scissors flew over. How dare you make a move on my man? You are looking for death. Maple Red is domineeringly protective of her husband. Yellow Weasel was successfully captured without breaking a sweat. Damien Lin is convinced that Yellow Weasel was acting on someone else's orders. He originally planned to use torture to extract a confession. Who would have thought that before the knife was even used, the defiant Yellow Weasel couldn't last a second and confess the mastermind? It turns out that it was Yellow Weasel's grandfather who sent him. That shameless Yellow Weasel, unable to confront things head-on, resorted to sneak attacks from behind. I know the person behind the scenes now. How should we deal with this Yellow Weasel? Damien Lin hasn't figured it out for a moment. At this time, the system has provided 3 options. Kill Yellow Weasel. Yellow Weasel goes well with rice. Damien Lin, who believes in avenging wrongs, clearly does not want to let Yellow Weasel go. But the reward for this choice is the most generous. Just saw him smile slyly. A brilliant idea that pleases everyone has already appeared in his mind. He first let Yellow Weasel go. Yellow Weasel, though unbelievable. But it had to run for its life. Just as Yellow Weasel left the next second, the system prompted the task completion. A wicked smile appeared on Damien Lin's face. It's time for revenge now. He caught Yellow Weasel before it could escape. He was about to escape from danger. Yellow Weasel only regretted having short legs and a frail body. It watched Damien Lin with a look as if it wanted to eat a mouse. Yellow Weasel was unexpectedly scared into fainting. But when he woke up the next day, Damien Lin not only did not take his life, he instead gave it an unexpected identity. Damien Lin woke up early the next day. Damien Lin looked at Maple Red, who was still sound asleep, with a smug expression on his face. He reached out with his salty pig hand, about to do something. "Dear Lin, what are you doing?" Damien Lin was scared, breaking out in a cold sweat, and tried hard to conceal his inner panic. At this moment, Maple Red noticed that Damien Lin seemed a bit different. "Dear Lin, you look more handsome and even stronger," she said. Upon hearing his wife's compliment, Damien Lin proudly looked in the mirror. "So it turns out it's all thanks to that marrow-cleansing Dan," Maple Red told him. "To absorb the energy of marrow-cleansing Dan and achieve an S-rank physique, continuous training of muscles and bones is necessary." When Damien Lin, this old pervert, heard about training muscles and bones, he immediately wanted to team up with Maple Red. He wants to learn from novels to have fun on weekends. Maple Red, after hearing this, unexpectedly acted coquettishly and said, "You bad guy. What do you take me for? A mature lady's coquettishness is the most deadly." Damien Lin hurriedly stepped forward to apologize. Maple Red told Damien Lin that she wanted to toughen up her muscles and bones by constantly using external force to strike her body, a practice known as taking hits. Although Damien Lin was somewhat skeptical of Maple Red's approach, but he believed that practice makes perfect. So, he embarked on the difficult path of seeking torment. Today is the school opening ceremony. He, who has some popularity, was being courted by the female classmates in various ways. Damien Lin never imagined that the former loser he used to be now has become the male god in the hearts of thousands of young girls. At this time, Minter Linda Tang also arrived. Damien Lin politely greeted her. Luna Murong and Peeks Ho, the senior students next to Linda Tang, whom Damien Lin does not know. But he has a close relationship with Sugar Sue. Damien Lin is such a little jerk. As soon as he sees Sugar Sue, he can't help but tease her. "Hey, Sugar Sue Sr., it's only been a few days. You've gained quite a bit of weight," he said. Sugar Sue was angered and embarrassed by the comments. She lifted her 6 feet 8 inches long legs and aimed a kick, but Damien Lin easily dodged it. Then her punch missed again. He closed his eyes, unable to see, moving around, ha ha ha. His stylish movements almost drove Sugar Sue crazy. Just as Damien Lin was feeling proud, suddenly there was a bang. It seemed to have hit something indescribable. It turns out that Linda Tang couldn't bear to watch and took action to stop it. She also investigated Damien Lin's information. Unexpectedly, his father turned out to be Yuan Lin. Everyone was shocked after hearing that. The supernatural ability user, who was once the strongest in Kanglin City. He turned out to be Damien Lin, that brain-damaged father. The ceremony started soon after. Kanglin College honors outstanding new students every year. They will be rewarded with a Kanglin sigil each. Fatty told Damien Lin that the Kanglin sigil is equivalent to a student card. At the same time, it is also a space item that can store belongings. At this time, Selena Chu, as the representative of the new students, took the stage to deliver an acceptance speech. Next was Huang Mao. Soon it was Damien Lin's turn. At this time, the system came back online. There were still 3 choices available. The rewards were agility, strength, and charisma, respectively. Damien Lin quickly made up his mind and chose the third option. Then he took the stage and began his performance, only to see him quickly transform into a pitiful little Damien, looking small, weak, innocent, and pathetic. "My family is facing special difficulties. Since I was little, my mother told me that the child of a poor family matures early and must help out at home." His superb acting skills were on full display. Even childhood sweetheart Selena Chu was almost convinced, just as everyone was being moved by his genuine emotions. Charisma rewards have been successfully distributed. After completing the task, Damien Lin's expression instantly changed. The above statements are all false. Everyone present here is trash. The crowd's faces instantly turned pale with anger. The group pushed forward in unison towards the man, wanting to teach this ignorant little cutie a lesson. But the man remained calm, continuously shouting, "Come on, hit me, you idiot!" It turned out that the man's self-discipline was for toughing his muscles and bones, and the best way to toughen them was by seeking a beating. Success was within sight. Fatty and Peaks Ho suddenly stepped forward to plead for mercy for him. How could Damien Lin tolerate others ruining his good deeds? He opened his mouth and scolded the two of them. "Useless Fatty and idiotic Peaks Ho. You two are also trash. Go back home and raise pigs." The two of them instantly became furious upon hearing. "Are you deliberately picking a fight, motherfucker?" As they said so, they joined the attacking team together. In this way, Damien Lin was beaten as desired. The girl who had been flirted with by him directly became a bystander. Sure enough, what goes around comes around for a despicable person. But this beating is like scratching an itch. If you want to completely absorb the energy of marrow-cleansing Dan, you have to increase the intensity. So, for several consecutive days, Damien Lin provoked hatred everywhere. All kinds of despicable behaviors emerged endlessly. But everyone treated him as a cute little guy. No one paid any attention to him. Even his wife, Maple Red, felt embarrassed. "Dear Lin, shall we go back first and come again another day?" He saw that nothing worked. Damien Lin looked worried and troubled. Suddenly, a mysterious man appeared. "If you are truly brave, go confess to the school beauty, Cynthia Moore." Damien Lin instantly felt excited when he heard that. Since she is the school beauty, she must have many male fans. There will definitely be a group of simps coming to compete. Upon thinking of this, he immediately announced in the school group that Cynthia Moore is his wife. Watching her husband confessing to another woman, Maple Red was so angry that she almost opened her mouth wide, but she could only hold it back. After all, the idea of asking for trouble was hers. But this goddess's influence is indeed extraordinary. Soon after, I received a message from Simp. Then the Simp army quickly assembled. They were chanting slogans with their mouths and wielding weapons in their hands, looking as if they were about to tear Damien Lin to shreds. This formidable display frightened Maple Red back into the spirit world, leaving Damien Lin alone to savor the victory. Soon, Damien Lin will be beaten so badly that even his parents won't recognize him. This time, he's finally scared. But the army of Sims has no intention of ending. They wave their big hammers, ready to continue teaching him how to be a decent person. At this time, a domineering female voice came through. "Stop, all of you. How dare you bully me, Linda Tang's student? Get lost as far as you can." Linda Tang, with her aura fully unleashed, combined with her nickname, Witch. The simps were scared away and dispersed. Damien Lin only managed to save his life. In fact, Linda Tang had seen through it a long time ago. Damien Lin is looking for trouble everywhere to temper his body. So let him be mischievous. She is here to tell Damien Lin some good news. Just saw Linda Tang turn around with a smirk. "Follow me. I will fulfill the special benefit I promised you before. Now." The beautiful mentor has no bottom line when it comes to recruiting apprentices. Students just need to worship her as their master. She will let you stay in the best dormitory. In the future, she will provide special benefits. When the man heard about the special benefits, he immediately performed the ceremony to become a disciple. But the man couldn't figure it out. Her so-called special benefits turned out to be devil training. Damien Lin shouted in frustration, begging for mercy. After hearing this, Linda Tang became even more enthusiastic, such as doing incline push-ups. Various moves of the jumping monkey are emerging in endless succession on the spot. At this moment, 10,000 alpacas are floating through Damien Lin's mind. He just wants to scold this woman. He just accepted a day of devil training like this. Damien Lin finally couldn't hold on and collapsed on the ground. But Linda Tang seemed like she was asking for a beating. "I can't hold on anymore. This is just too much." A man cannot easily say he can't do it. Fortunately, Linda Tang still has a bit of humanity. agrees to let Damien Lin rest for 0.01 seconds. Taking this opportunity, Linda Tang mentioned Damien Lin's father, Yuan Lin. It turns out that Yuan Lin used to be her team leader. 10 years ago, the army of ghosts and monsters invaded Kanglin City. They committed all sorts of evil deeds, including burning, killing, and looting. The people were plunged into an unprecedented crisis. Yuan Lin leads his Blade Hunters team to step forward. They fight bravely to resist and strive to win a ray of hope for the people. Unfortunately, there are a large number of ghosts and monsters, and even some formidable enemies of S rank, through sacrificing themselves in battle time after time. Blade Hunters' team successfully repelled the ghosts and monsters, but Yuan Lin and other team members unfortunately sacrificed themselves. Although Damien Lin traveled to this world, after listening to Linda Tang's account, he still felt immensely proud of his father's heroic act. He thought again of continuing his father's legacy in the supernatural power department, quietly watching over his city with his sister. The hero's flame in Damien Lin's heart was instantly ignited. He clenched his fist and looked at Linda Tang. "Teacher, I want to become stronger. Please train me to the extreme." In the blink of an eye, it was already the day when the Spiritual Spring Academy opened. Linda Tang once said about the revival of world spiritual energy. Countless remnants appeared on the earth. Spiritual Spring is one of them. The college opens for a limited time once a year for students to enhance their skills. Early in the morning, a crowd gathered at the entrance. Linda Tang is smoking and talking to her companion. In each person's Kanglin sigil, after storing 500 spiritual stones inside, throwing the spiritual stones into the spring hole can draw out the spiritual energy inside. She finished speaking and then opened the door to the spiritual spring. Everyone quickly ran inside. As soon as they entered the spiritual spring, everyone scrambled to grab the high-quality resources. The obese man who prioritizes looks over friends. He abandoned Damien Lin and ran off to show the way to a junior sister. Damien Lin, who is new to the place, is completely at a loss. He has no idea which cave's spiritual spring is better. It seems like he will have to rely on his luck. He casually kicked open a door, only to find two girls bathing inside. One of them had blue hair. The scene in front of school beauty Cynthia Moore, to whom Damien Lin publicly confessed his love, caused his blood pressure to soar. He couldn't help but sigh and say, "Really nice." The girl reacted and shouted at Damien Lin to get lost. At this time, the system task came online again. Damien Lin chose option 2 without hesitation. Then he leisurely walked towards the two girls. When has Cynthia Moore, the school beauty, ever been so humiliated? Angrily, she scolded Damien Lin. "Damien Lin, you bastard. If you come over again, I will call someone." A man accidentally intruded into the girls' bathroom. Two girls yelled at him to get out. However, the man showed no sign of backing down. The girls screamed in terror. "Damien Lin, you bastard. If you come any closer, I will scream for help." Damien Lin continued to approach. Since explanations are useless anyway, it's better to just act tough. Then he leaped forward, intending to have a Mandarin duck playing in the water moment with the girl. But the next second, there was a loud bang. Damien Lin was violently blasted out of the door. The kid beside nearly fainted in anger at the scene, as his goddess Cynthia Moore was bathing inside. His own goddess was being peeped at by someone. At this moment, he wished he could skin Damien Lin alive. Damien Lin, on the other hand, found a small piece of spiritual spring. He was enjoying himself. Although he didn't get to have fun with the beautiful girl just now, he completed the task and saw a beauty. This round, no matter how you calculate, it's all gain. Just as he was feeling proud and elated, Maple Red suddenly appeared. "Dear Lin, isn't having me enough? Why do you always flirt with others?" Damien Lin stuttered as he tried to come up with an excuse. Maple Red opened its mouth and fiercely bit down on Damien Lin's shoulder. Damien Lin wanted to cry, but no tears came. He didn't expect that woman ghost would also get jealous. Just at that moment, Suddenly, a huge external force shattered the stone gate. It turns out to be Cynthia Moore's little simp. Damien Lin, how dare you defile my Cynthia? I'm going to kill you, he said, as he scratched towards Damien Lin with one claw. Damien Lin dodged quickly with a flash of movement. There was a loud bang, and Spiritual Spring was directly smashed into a large hole. Damien Lin did not expect that there was actually nothing underneath Spiritual Spring. Damien Lin quickly grabbed hold of the hole entrance. But that little simp is so cheap and annoying. He insisted on dragging Damien Lin down with him. Damien Lin is about to fall into the pit. Fortunately, Maple Red appeared just in time, accompanying Damien Lin to fall together, only to hear a thud. Turns out there is water below the cave, and beneath the water is actually a piece of land. Maple Red quickly grabbed Damien Lin when she saw the situation. Unfortunately, Little Simp was not as lucky. He fell with a bang and spat out blood directly. Damien Lin mocked, with a smug expression, and said "Heh heh heh. Fortunately, I have a wife. You single dog, fall to your death." Then the two landed safely. However, Little Simp had already died of unfulfilled resentments. Damien Lin couldn't help feeling regretful for him. He passed away at such a young age. And the only thing one can do now is to... The only thing he can do is to take away everything he has on him. Let him leave this world without any worries. Fortunately, this guy is also considered wealthy. He has quite a few spiritual stones hidden on him. At this time, Maple Red felt the strong sinister energy here. There should be a large number of ghosts and monsters gathering nearby. Damien Lin's spirits lifted upon hearing this, fantasizing about meeting a woman ghost as beautiful as Maple Red. As a result, he ended up receiving a severe beating from Maple Red. "Can you please behave properly, you jerk? This is clearly a haunted realm, inhabited by fierce and malicious ghosts." So, haunted realm refers to a doomed land occupied by ghosts and monsters, which is considered an extremely dangerous area in the eyes of weak humans. Damien Lin was frightened and broke out in a cold sweat after hearing that. Does it mean he has fallen into a den of ghosts? Just then, an unidentified object flew over. He looked down and realized it was a poke ball. Damien Lin couldn't help but be curious. Is there a Pikachu inside? The poke ball may not necessarily contain a Pikachu. It's also possible that there are two evil ghosts inside. Damien Lin was frightened by these two cuties. Fortunately, the system task was launched on time. There are still 3 choices: play with Little Evil, provoke Little Evil, and kill Little Evil. Damien Lin decisively chose the third option without hesitation. He plans to accompany 2 cute little babies and have a good time. Then he grabbed a poke ball and kicked it hard. The poke ball hit Little Evil directly in the face. He was given a lunch box on the spot. The system reward has arrived. Damien Lin successfully gained 8 points of strength. The other Little Evil was stunned by this scene. It immediately realized and called someone for help. Maple Red shouted loudly at the sight. But this is exactly what Damien Lin wants. The power of the marrow cleansing pill is almost completely absorbed. If beaten up again, I might awaken the S-rank physique on my own. Not long after, Little Evil's companion appeared. Which shameless person dares to bully my little brother? Come out and face your death. Damien Lin immediately struck a pose that begged for a beating. It's your grandpa here. Come and fight me, you idiot. This despicable appearance completely confused Little Evil. Big brother, is this guy insane? Forget whether he's insane or not. Today he killed Little too. I'll roast him for the brothers. After saying that, he rushed towards Damien Lin. Evil Ghost pressed Damien Lin to the ground and gave him a good beating. But after being beaten for a while, Damien Lin acted as if nothing had happened, even yelling as if he was having a great time. At this point, Little Evil realized that Damien Lin was a supernatural ability user, which was a big advantage for them. So, he opened his mouth wide, ready to devour him alive. Damien Lin was finally scared when he heard this. Why wasn't this following the script? He struggled desperately to escape, but was held down tightly, and couldn't move. Not good. If this continues, I'll become a widow. I have to find a way to save dear Lin. Maple Red was about to make a move when she noticed Damien Lin emanating golden light all around his body. With a loud bang, Damien Lin directly sent the group of little evil flying. He finally awakened his S-rank physique. His strong muscles were like those of a super scion. His wife joined him in battle, wiping out the group of little evil. Maple Red nodded in approval. The two of them immediately rushed towards the little evil. Maple Red performed a beautiful aerial slash, killing the little evil without any resistance. Damien Lin is even more awesome. His fists, the size of sandbags, rained down on the little evil with such force that they cried uncle right away. The couple joined forces, and before long, they had almost completely wiped out the little evils. Damien Lin felt the immense power contained within his body, experiencing a satisfaction like never before. The feeling of this S-rank physique was absolutely exhilarating, just as he was feeling proud of himself. Suddenly, the ground began to shake violently. Powerful evil energy kept approaching the two individuals. Maple Red quickly pulled Damien Lin and fled upon seeing this. This is the aura of a B-level or higher ghost and monster. It might even be a ghost king. Marrying a woman ghost as a wife is quite an experience. Not only can one gain SSS rank supernatural power, he can even get the woman ghost wife's close protection. After detecting the presence of powerful ghosts and monsters here, Maple Red immediately left with their beloved dear Lin. They finally returned to the ground with great difficulty. But they found Linda Tang and Fatty had been waiting for a long time. At this time, that evil energy also chased out. Linda Tang immediately geared up to fight against ghosts and monsters upon seeing the situation. The scene switched. Damien Lin and Maple Red returned home. They have just received the latest news from the college. Suddenly, Fatty sent another message. The school has decided to compensate students who participate in the spiritual spring experience. The compensation will be in the form of a soul jade. The so-called soul jade is a gemstone that stores spiritual energy for ghosts and monsters. Different levels of soul jade will drop when ghosts and monsters die. Damien Lin thought to himself, this is indeed a good thing. However, Madam should have won too, right? He leered at Madam. When shall we go to our bridal chamber? Annoying, let's talk about it later. This scene almost annoyed Yellow Weasel to death. Showing affection every day. Do they really think I'm a dog? But apart from showing affection, Damien Lin is not too unethical. He prepares delicious chicken soup for Big Yellow every day. This inevitably moves Big Yellow to tears. It reminds him of being kept like an animal in Xiao Yang's house before. Not only was he treated as livestock, but he was also frequently subjected to severe torture. Although Damien Lin is somewhat unethical, he is still thousands of times better than Xiao Yang. Big Yellow was still feeling emotional at that moment. Damien Lin has already taken his wife to collect the soul jade. Here lies the famous treasure vault, where the old man sleeping is the curator. Elder Song. This old man lazily glanced at Damien Lin. Damien Lin couldn't help but shiver. He felt a sense of being suppressed. Afterwards, Elder Song led everyone to retrieve the stone box containing the soul jade. Fatty told Damien Lin that the stone box is blessed with spiritual energy and is very difficult to open. Just as he was still struggling with how to open it, the system made a sound. It was another 3 choices. Damien Lin took a glance and chose the second one. He decided to violently open the blind box. It was also a good opportunity to test the power of the S-rank body. Then with a great force, he smashed the blind box with a punch. Elder Song was stunned by this scene. Who opens a blind box like this? Please, just behave yourself. Damien Lin ignored him and continued to work hard. In no time, he smashed more than 10 blind boxes, but they were all trash soul jades. Everyone rushed forward to pick up the pieces. Elder Song saw that there were almost no blind boxes left. He quickly rushed over and pulled Damien Lin away to make him stop such inhumane actions. Elder Song decided to let him choose a rare soul jade. Damien Lin, who suffers from decision paralysis, wants everything he sees. At this moment, Maple Red's voice came. Dear Lin, that infernal ghost soul jade is not bad. Although the level is not high, it can unleash potential and allow the user to gain fire element supernatural power. Elder Song nodded in satisfaction upon seeing Damien Lin's choice. He is indeed Yuan Lin's son. His taste is truly unique. At this time, the system is asking whether you want to absorb the power of the soul jade. Damien Lin naturally believes in his wife's judgment. He then decisively chose to absorb it. He continued with a sigh. Damien Lin unexpectedly unlocked an additional supernatural power, Flame Fist.